What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Why We Love PlayStation VR. Sitting across from me this week and every week, everything comes to he who waits, and I have waited so very long for this moment. It's Desra.
Oh, okay, yeah, good. That works. I was a little nervous there for a moment, but and sitting across from me, of course, is Brian Paul.
What, do you think you're going to get fired or something? Mikey did a great job in your absence, I will say that.
He did. It was fantastic. And if I have to get fired for someone else, well, he's a worthwhile successor.
I'm never firing you.
Yeah.
Please don't ever leave me. Every week on Why We Love PlayStation VR, we dip into the PlayStation VR archive. We dust the blow off an old PlayStation VR game, and then we play the crap out of it. We talk about it excessively, and then we let you know, so many pens, whether it's worth your time. That being said, Desro, what did we decide to play this week?
This week we are talking about Blasters of the Universe VR Bullet Hell.
That seems to be the full title. It's
That
everywhere.
is the full title, yes.
Blasters of the Universe VR Bullet Hell by Secret Location, released on February 27, 2018.
Ask me what kind of game it is.
$17.99. I gotta say, before I even ask you that question, very interesting.
Yes.
Secret Location, also the developers
Yes.
of the excellent puzzle game Transpose,
yeah.
which I don't think we haven't done one of those yet.
We haven't yet.
I feel like we should do that.
We should do that.
Because,
all right, bye, everybody.
Because AJ would be very mad at us if we don't. That's like, he loves that game, and he doesn't even love puzzle games. Actually, I don't know. I'm putting words in his mouth. But also, besides Transpose, they are also making The Great C.
The Great C, yes.
Which is the VR story by Philip K. Dick.
Yeah, man, he's getting a lot of work out there lately.
Yeah. He's a science fiction writer, right?
Yes, he is, and he's been dead for quite a while.
Oh, I
Yeah.
can't say I knew that.
So this is basically all the estate of Philip K. Dick is really raking in the money. And if you know his story, it's basically kind of sucks because he was not. He was well known and respected, but not very successful financially,
Gotcha.
and kind of died in a bad way. But
all great artists are only recognized post-mortem.
yeah,
When
Beyonce?
I'm dead, we're gonna have 1 million subscribers. That's not how this is gonna work. Des, with all that out of the way, what kind of game is Blasters of the Universe VR Bullet Hell? Jesus.
it's a VR bullet hell game.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. Yeah, it's also a wave shooter.
It is a wave shooter. Yeah.
We don't ever want to let that slide because we have so many wave shooters
This is true.
that when we talk about them, especially excessively during long episodes, we need to specify which ones are good.
Well, that's true.
Right. And hopefully this is a good one. I can't wait to find out.
Is it Jaws or non-Jaws? Jaws. Just another wave shooter.
Or is it Jaws the Revenge?
Yeah.
Because that's totally different.
Because Michael Caine wasn't doing anything that weekend.
Yeah,
Or was it that Jaws 3?
I don't even know. Which one was the SeaWorld one?
That was the Jaws 3D.
I'm going to say we don't get off topic enough on this show. If you hate it, then you know what? I don't know what to tell you. Because if we just talked about the game, this would be a very short episode.
We'll just have AJ take over from me here.
What's your experience with bullet hell games?
Not my favorite genre.
Not mine either.
Yeah. It's. I mean, I get it for the people who do like it, but it's just one of those like, I get people who like iced coffee. It's just not my thing.
Is it personal attack right now?
No, it's just I understand why you like it. I just don't enjoy it,
Sure.
and that's kind of the way I feel about pretty much every bullet hell game I played.
Yeah, bullet hell as a genre, I mean, I guess it's part of the shooter genre.
Yeah.
It has always been something I wanted to be good at, and I have a lot of them. I think Ikaruga was probably my last real strong attempt. But man, I had a ton of
Guardian Legend.
The Guardian Legend on NES.
Yeah, on NES. Hell
By
yeah.
Broderbund. That is the most. Yep. That is the deepest cut ever.
Really?
Yeah. Does anyone?
Wow.
Why? Do you guys know what the Guardian Legend is? I don't know, it's probably
I guess
a video of it playing.
Maybe it was just one of those games that kind of landed in my circle of friends that no one else played. Like we all played it when I was when I had NES. Yeah.
Maybe I thought it was a hidden gem and it was just everybody already had it. I mean, I got a ton on Dreamcast and I've gotten into the first 3.5 minutes of each of them.
Yeah.
And I go, this is way too hard for me.
And here's the thing. I think it goes to why are you playing a game?
Yeah.
For some people, that's just I want to play a game because I want this challenge. I want to master this skill.
Yeah.
For me, I'm more of I like story. I like the being involved, being immersed in a world. Seeing someone else's vision, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But just fast reflex twitch shooting kind of stuff has never really been the reason I play games.
But there is a story.
There is.
To Blasters of the Universe.
Yes.
VR Bullet Hell.
Yeah.
It starts off. It's sort of a 2D, 3D thing.
Yep.
I got to give them credit because so often we get these cutscenes that are just 2D screens, and you're like, okay, well, I'm playing a VR game and I'm just watching a flat screen.
Right.
This has cool, almost like cardboard cutout sort of arcade environment, and tells a story of this kind of bully guy, who was really good at video games, and then one day he played a VR game and became an evil guy. It's not a good story.
Well, and here's the thing: he wasn't like, and I think the game it does hang a hat on this, but he's not good because he's amazing. He's good because he's like 5 years older than everyone else at the arcade.
Yeah.
Right. So he's not like mad skills. He's just a 15-year-old playing against a bunch of 10-year-olds. Right. So, yeah, he's a bully. He's basically a bully.
Total jerk.
Yeah.
And now he's
Alwyn.
And now he's your arch nemesis. Now he's the bad guy in this game.
Yeah, basically they introduced a VR game to the arcade. He stole it, brought it home, and became the god of VR.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's it. And you have to decide within the first 30 seconds of the game if you find him entertaining or not.
Well, let me stop there.
Yeah.
Because I hate saying this.
Mm-hmm.
Because I love the motif of this game.
Yes.
The whole thing revolves around late 80s, early 90s, like really cheesy sci-fi movies.
Yes.
And I think I really enjoyed that at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I might still sort of enjoy that.
Sure.
But this guy, this enemy, I'm not on board with his character.
No.
In the way they amp up his voice and make it like robotic and like it's a little grating, especially if you die and hear the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, and you're gonna die a lot.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like Alwyn, again, I get what you're going for. Like, and if you think about this is 80s arcadey, we're celebrating everything 80s. Well, what do you have in the 80s? You have your nerd characters in movies, right? This over the top, nasally voiced, and in this case, it's the nerd who's gotten powers, who becomes a bully and lashes out with the same kind of bullying that he got. We get it, but it just feels very like, okay, are the developers making fun of us? Are they making fun of themselves?
Oh, I didn't even go there.
Yeah, it just, it smacked to me of that nerd guy in Accounting Plus.
Yeah.
It's just like, is it like this, lovingly we're poking fun at ourselves? I don't know. But either way, if you enjoy it, I mean, there are some genuinely funny moments here and there.
I'm gonna take a stance on this since you brought it up, and I'm gonna say they're doing neither of those things.
Okay.
I'm gonna say they're just having fun with an old genre of movie and just throwing it out there, saying this is your enemy, and it would fit right in the early 90s on like an HBO B movie.
Yeah, I'm probably putting too much thought into it. You're right.
That's what we do here.
But
we think way too hard about everything.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I guess it wouldn't be so bad if the game itself wasn't so hard and frustrating.
True.
And then you have that on top. It's like funny at first, like, oh yeah, he's annoying. Like, oh, just shut up, shut up.
Right. Des almost swore. Did you hear that? So let's talk about the game a little bit. Yeah. This is Bullet Hell. This is first person Bullet Hell. Mm-hmm. This is VR Bullet Hell.
Yes.
And so, I can't imagine anyone's unfamiliar with the genre, but there's got to be someone out there that's like, I don't know what Bullet Hell is. So a brief rundown.
A hell of bullets. Yeah.
Yeah. There's usually, especially in the 2D shooter variety, it is just a whole screen full of bullets, and you either have a special ability to maneuver that, or you have to find the path, slow down time, whatever, to dodge the bullets while you're attacking the enemies.
Right. And it's funny, you fire this game up and you think, okay, VR Bullet Hell, I know the genre, I'm expecting just like craziness. At first it feels very, very slow.
Embarrassingly slow. You're like, this is not Bullet Hell.
Right. And I'm like, okay, everything looks kind of cool, but like the first big wave of bullets that comes at you, I mean, no exaggeration, it's just moving like this.
Yeah, and
I don't even know how this is hard.
And I think the first one is like just like a small pattern of a few dots.
And you can, and the game advises you to, like, the only thing that's a target is your head.
Right.
Okay, so if it hits your hands, you're fine. So you can, you got the square of bullets coming out. You just put your head right through the middle of it. It avoids you. I'm like, oh, this is super easy. What's the big deal? That changes.
Well, so yeah, and it takes. I mean, so it's funny because you think wave shooter, you think fast pace, crazy nonstop action, and I was looking at the time on my first level. So here's what happened to me when I dropped in today. My PlayStation 4 didn't even know I ever played this game. It was one of those things where I went to my library that usually you're able to search for like any game you've ever played or purchased. Couldn't find it. Didn't exist. So I had to start searching every store, and I found it on the European store where there wasn't a price. It just said download. I was like, interesting.
Must have bought it there.
I got a European key when the developers were sending them out. So, but that also meant that this must have happened on my original PS4 in that I didn't have my saved game data. So I was so excited to say, look at all these guns, look at all these things that I created. But man, today when I was playing this and capturing footage, I was starting from scratch. And I have to say, I'm kind of glad it made me start from scratch.
Okay.
Because I got to experience that first level with kind of a puny gun. Yeah. And it felt almost embarrassingly slow. And you're like, this is no wave shooter. This didn't feel much like a wave shooter, but it didn't feel like a bullet hell wave shooter. And then the first time I got hit and didn't know why, because I turned my head and realized that there's an enemy over here, and I was focused over here and kind of over here. Yeah. Well, everything sort of became clear again. I was like, oh, we're getting shot at from 180 degrees. It's going to be really important to look all around you all the time, which is really hard when you're firing here and there's enemies here, but you're getting shot at from over here. It's a lot to manage.
And not only that, like, even you do have, each level does introduce new enemies, but the old enemies stick around too.
Right.
Like, it's not like this level is completely new, and so like you have this enemy that shoots like those slow blasts at you. Well, one slow blast is no problem. 2 slow blasts, not even that bad. 6 or 7 coming from different angles all at different times is, well, it's not slow anymore at that point.
And then they mix it up. And then they have like lasers firing at you that are like crisscrossing the screen along with these patterns of bullets. Right. And you can put your head through the pattern as long as there's no bullets in the middle. You can dodge completely and get out of the way. Or in your left hand, you got a shield. Which is really difficult to remember that you have.
It really is. It really is.
When you're so focused on shooting enemies and just trying not to get hit, it's somehow it's easy to just be like, oh, I forgot that I had this.
Now, I think the biggest difference between this and a traditional bullet hell sort of shooter, you don't have in-game upgrades, which means like, by what I mean that, you don't shoot an enemy and it drops like a special laser adjuster, things like that. That doesn't happen. The only way you can adjust your weapon is before the level actually starts.
Right. So the further you get in each level, there's sort of this XP bar that fills up. Whether you succeed at a level or you die in a level, you do get XP no matter what.
Right.
And the more that XP bar fills up and the more times you let it roll over, the more things unlock in sort of your home base area. And man, there's a lot of things that unlock.
Yeah, your gun is made of about, I think it's 5 different parts that you can adjust, and each of those 5 different parts has at least 5, if not more, eventual things that you can unlock. The number they throw around all the time in the press releases and everything is 130,000 possible different combinations.
130,000, that's what you're saying?
Yeah, but I mean, that's some combinatorial mathematics. And I mean, that's technically true.
Because everything interacts, every single attachment interacts with all the other attachments and will amplify it or help it or... it's fun to play around with the combinations. That's like the whole game.
Yeah, but I'd honestly say only about maybe a dozen or so of those loadouts are actually significantly different or useful.
Yeah, you think so?
Well, it's just because everything is just, you're shaving a percentage off of this or that. You're like, oh, this kind of gun, but with faster reload time, or this kind of gun, but with a wider spread. Honestly, I only found like 2 or 3 loadouts that I really liked for the way I like to play. And that's, something they talk about in their promotional material too, is you get to play this however you want.
Well, so I definitely encountered very powerful shots.
Yeah.
Powerful shots that had a very low capacity.
Yes.
You had to reload more often, which we need to talk about too, because reloading is a huge mechanic in this game.
Yeah.
And if they're more powerful bullets, and they end up traveling slower. Now, then there are different attachments that say, hey, this one will chain attacks from enemy to enemy.
Yep.
So now you're suddenly becoming more rewarded for those slower attacks. do you want to have more powerful attacks? Do you want less powerful attacks that move faster? And so I totally get like what kind of gamer are you, but also this game made me question what kind of gamer I was.
Yeah.
And made me experiment with a lot of different loadouts to figure that out.
And for me, actually, I was less interested in kind of the gun mechanic than I was when I found out there were different, like multiple shield types, and not only that, the offensive shields. And once the first time I unlocked the first like reflective shield, which would like bounce back enemy bullets, like now I can enjoy this game. Because before the shield is pretty passive. I mean, you block stuff and eventually it wears out, and your modifiers are just like, it'll wear out more slowly, but take longer to recharge and things like that. Like I didn't really care about that. But then eventually you unlock, like I said, the reflective shields or shields that you can actually place them.
Yes.
Like put one here,
so
here,
good.
Here. It's like, that's for me, like the shield modifications, oddly enough, were way more interesting than the gun modifications. Because the gun, I mean, like you said, it's always the typical trade-offs. Do I want a scatter shot that I don't really have to aim, but it doesn't do that much damage? It's every game you've ever played has these kind of trade-offs. There's nothing. I think, they try to pride themselves like, this is this unique mechanic in gaming. It's like, well, not really. You just made more choices. Right, they're the same choices. There's just 130,000 of them rather than 6. But yeah, the shield I think got really interesting. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but I had one heck of a time trying to get through this game on the casual difficulty.
Oh yeah,
and there's no in between. There's no casual, normal, hard. It's casual and hell.
Yeah, and the casual is hell. So the hell is just madness.
Yeah, I basically I struggled big time with casual. I spent very little time in hell because I just wanted to actually make progress in this game, which I was not doing very well on casual.
Yeah, I would say like this is definitely like you have to be in the mood for this kind of game. It harkens back to like the original Dick Wilde, I think, where it's just like, this is going to be hard.
Yeah.
Okay, and you just have to accept that and be happy with it, because we're not going to make it easier for you or anything like that. But similarly to Dick Wilde, if you just stand still, you will die.
Oh man! Yeah. So I went back and I watched my original review for this.
Yeah.
And I was actually comparing it to Super Hot, meaning I was all over my living room.
Yeah.
I was standing up on my tiptoes when the lasers would come by, and I'd be like, I just gotta get my head above that, or when they'd come by and I like just duck and drop at the last second, and throw my shield up and sort of just cower and hide. So. Yeah, and you're definitely going left and right, and you are holding 2 move controllers required. Keep that in mind as well. So there's a lot of movement. I don't even think you could play this sitting down. Like, you really need to be mobile.
You would be pretty amazing. Actually, no, you couldn't. No, you just straight up couldn't, because there's the lasers that, and a couple different bosses and battles that come and aim at where you were sitting. So, or where your head was.
Right.
And when those lasers go by, your shields don't block them or anything. You have to dodge them physically.
So there's only 5 stages.
Correct.
Which feels pretty minimal, but it will take you a while to get through them because of the difficulty level.
Yes. Yeah.
There are, like I said, casual mode and hell mode on each, but there's also endless mode. So you can really, if you're a leaderboard kind of person, you can totally dive into that and see, the impossible scores that you're trying to take down. I mean, you're not coming anywhere close. The people on top of these leaderboards are amazing.
Yeah.
Like ridiculous.
They're Elwins.
Exactly. And I just, there was one more thing. There's a daily challenge mode.
The
Weekly challenge mode.
Yeah.
So if this is something that you're really, really into and that you blast through and you have no problems with, or that you've gotten really, really good at, they do give you an incentive to stick around.
And the weekly challenges are actually kind of interesting. Like I was reading up, on one of them that was like shields only.
That is pretty good.
I was like, that's interesting. Okay, you got me. So it's not just like, the weekly challenge is beat this many points. It's like, no, they make it interesting. They limit the type of weapon you can use and things like that. So there is some creativity behind it.
Yeah. I wrote down reload. I wanted to make sure that I addressed the reload situation. For me, reloading obviously is part of the game.
Yes.
So on your left, you have not only your shield with the trigger, but you also have to, with the move button, do one of these things and put it where it goes in that specific gun.
Exactly in that specific place.
It shouldn't be this difficult.
Nope.
But I'm curious to know what you think about this, because I don't know if I think they wanted to make reloading very specific and very deliberate because of they wanted to reward you for using things that didn't require so much reloading. You know, when all these attachments come through and they say, hey, you don't have to reload as often, suddenly that's like a dream come true.
Yeah.
Because it's so difficult to reload in the heat of battle sometimes.
Yeah, we've there's been plenty of games where they have a physical reloading mechanic, and most of them you basically just have to bring your hand somewhere near
the vicinity,
gun. It just
right?
says, okay.
Yeah.
Like, no, you have to be exactly dead on where the chamber or whatever is supposed to be.
And it doesn't seem to give you like a vibration notification or anything.
No.
So you have to be looking at it to get it right most of the time, which I struggled with. Yeah. But again, I didn't know if that was something that they were doing deliberately.
But even at that, like especially in the early levels, the auto reload and the auto fire guns, you're like, oh, this is great. It's gonna auto reload in about 10 to 15 seconds.
It takes a while.
Yeah, the recharge, the auto reload, whatever you want to call it, is very, very slow. So you're sitting there with literally nothing you can do about the enemies coming at you.
Dodge.
Other than dodge.
A lot of dodging.
And if there's some of them are coming up like melee style right in your face, you're just getting hit while you're waiting for your gun to reload.
Yeah.
Very unsatisfying.
It is pretty unsatisfying.
Although the only other thing my thing I wanted to mention, the bosses.
Yeah.
One thing that VR does very well, the games that do it, is your boss fights. Because in VR, you can actually get the feeling of, holy crap, that thing is big.
Right.
I think my first experience with that, we talked about the Ancient Emulator way back, the first VR boss battle.
Yeah.
Oh, this is cool. And you get that feeling. The first boss a little bit, definitely the final boss is this looming thing. So it's just very cool. I mean, the bosses are difficult. As hard as the levels were, man, just make sure you keep your straps on because you're going to be rage throwing your controllers. Yeah. Okay, that's just going to happen. Especially what was it called? I even wrote the name on it. Spectre, that stealth disappearing one.
Yeah.
It's not one of the huge ones, so it doesn't have that going for it. But it basically appears, shoots at you, and goes to the stealth. Yeah. The less said about that, the better.
Just a heads up, when we started this episode, I said that the game was launched at $17.99. According to psprices.com, which we use every week these days, it was only $17.99 from February 27th to March 6th, which means there was, if I remember correctly, there was a pricing issue.
Oh.
So
okay.
So even though it launched at that price, that was almost never the price. It's been $15 pretty much since March 6th, so pretty much since launch.
Okay.
It has been on sale numerous times. It has been on sale as low as $4.49 with Plus, and but it's frequently on sale for much more regularly for half price, $7.49.
It's definitely one of those ones we see on those sales an awful lot. So
yeah, so if this is something that interests you, make sure you just keep an eye on the sales. And actually, that's probably a good place to rate this.
Yeah, I was going to say you're pretty much giving the rating right there. So our rating scale is pretty easy to understand. A 1 is yes, you absolutely have to buy this game. It's just the best of the best for the medium. If you have a PlayStation VR, it should be in your library. Yeah. End of story. 2, sure, why not? If it's a genre you particularly love, or if it's on sale at a decent price, go ahead and pick it up. It's not going to hurt you. And 3 is no. Friends don't let friends buy crap. We need to vote with our wallets and tell developers that we deserve better. So 1, 2, or 3. What do you think?
Blasters of the Universe VR Bullet Hell is a game that gets brought up a lot in different conversations, wave shooter conversations. It gets compared to Space Pirate Trainer a lot, which is another very popular wave shooter. But this one does something a little bit differently. I think this one does something unique for PSVR.
Okay.
We have a lot of wave shooters. And my favorite are obviously the scary ones. I love Brookhaven, and I was making fun of myself earlier today for saying that I liked Wraith, which is not a good game. but it's scary, and so it gets a little bit of extra love from me. This is, like I said, maybe I appreciated these movies and this genre at one point in my life, and maybe, I think maybe in college I had friends and we all really rallied around the B movie, specifically. Mystery Science Theater 3000 is good at that, and just getting drunk and hanging out with college friends. I don't know. It all feels like it belongs together. And this game feels like getting drunk and hanging out with college friends. There's something about this game. At $15, I can't say enough good things about this, to be honest with you. I know I specifically mentioned that I didn't like the reloading mechanic, but then I think that's intentional. But I love coming up with different combinations for my weapon and saying what does best suit me as a gamer and what's going to help get me past this next stage that I'm stuck on. The fact that I really suck at casual makes me go, man, I want to get better at this so I can even begin to attempt hell. And I think that this is kind of one of those special games when it comes to wave shooters. And I don't think this gets brought up in the, oh God, we have too many wave shooter conversations. This gets brought up as, well, at least we have this wave shooter because it's pretty damn cool. I like the super hot mechanic in terms of like being all over the place. I like when there's a ton of bullets coming at me and I go, there's that spot right there. I'm gonna like just get in there until okay, now it's safe. Okay, now remember that I have a shield and let's fire away and do my best. I'm really bad at this, and it's one of those things that I'm like, I'm okay being really bad at it because I really appreciate it, and I'm gonna give it a 1.
You're gonna okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before I do my judgment, one thing neither of us mentioned, and to our shame, the graphics and the audio design are both fantastic. Yeah. This feels like you are in a VR Tron sort of universe. It's all these flat shaded neon colors and all that, and the soundtrack and the audio design of all, the blasts from the gun are very satisfying. It just that is all really great.
Yeah, I actually love the music.
Yeah. So I feel bad before we go any further. We should have mentioned that, and I apologize.
And I feel bad for giving it a 3.
No. I'm not going to give it a 3. I'm not going to give it a 1 though either, because I think like I said, for me a 2 is if there's a genre you particularly like, go for it. I would say if you don't find this kind of thing fun, you're not going to enjoy this game, which I know sounds like a truism, but really it's not like, I want to have a wave shooter in my collection. It's not my favorite kind of genre, but I should have one. I don't know that this is the one for everybody.
Okay.
This is really challenging, really difficult. If that's what you're looking for in a game, then good God, buy this game. But for me, like I don't mind challenging, but I was playing this and I kept thinking back to Shooty Fruity. Shooty Fruity also very, very difficult.
Yes.
But for me, I found Shooty Fruity, it's a little more crazy and chaotic, just a little more fun behind it, even though it's, I think, just and challenging on some levels. And this was, to me, just challenging without as much of like the wackiness and the fun part of it.
I'm trying to like wonder if I can take a stance on this, and I'm going to say of the two, which I think they're both excellent games, and I think we gave Shooty Fruity a 1. I
think so, yeah.
I'm gonna err on the side of this one and say I'd rather play this.
Okay. Yeah.
But they're both wonderful games.
Yeah, no, it's and don't mistake a 2 for this is a bad game. It is not a bad game. I just it's not my speed. It's not that like honestly I will probably never play this again. Just because it's just like not it's not my jam. But for the people whose jam this is almost flawlessly executed version of that. So yeah, if what we're talking about sounds like a good time to you, absolutely grab this. Everyone else, maybe not so much.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, I think that pretty much does it for another episode of Why We Love PlayStation VR. Obviously, we always want to know what you think of the games that we've been playing. So in the comments below, let us know. Did you enjoy this game? Did you not enjoy this game? Are you a bullet hell fan? Do you have a pretty decent Dreamcast collection? Would you like to add to your Dreamcast collection and buy my Dreamcast collection? It's up for sale.
All of it. Just one lump.
Yeah, at least the bullet hell games. They're all out the door. I've had enough. We also want to know what other games you want us to play. The list is ridiculously long at this point. It's miles and miles and miles long, but we're going to play them all at some point. No, this is like I'm out of here. And for another episode of Why We Love PlayStation VR, I'm Brian Paul.
I'm Des.
And we'll see you next week.